What if you could take just one single pill and it could say hunt down cancer cells or maybe regulate your blood sugar perfectly if you had diabetes?
Or even scrub plaque from your arteries,
Yeah.
clear out, lung congestion.
Exactly. It sounds completely like science fiction, right?
Yeah.
But this idea, this one pill to cure all, it's actually, well, it's becoming a serious topic for scientists.
Oh, absolutely. This dream of a universal cure, it's been around in medicine for, well, forever, basically. But what's different now, what's really compelling, is the actual progress we're seeing in key areas.
It makes it feel less like a dream and more achievable.
Precisely. It
Yeah.
feels like it might be a realistic possibility, maybe even within a few decades.
And yeah, it's not just wishful thinking. We've been looking at some really interesting sources for this deep dive. Some white papers talking about how this one pill could be developed, how it could become available.
And that comparison, the one about the skull versus the microtubule size.
Right. Really puts the scale into perspective. These sources, they're suggesting we could be looking at a total healthcare revolution, maybe by around 2063.
Yeah, 2063. It's definitely ambitious, no doubt about it. But when you look at the core technology involved, programmable nanomachines, the potential is just enormous.
Nanomachines. So these are incredibly tiny robots.
Essentially, yes. Devices working at the nanoscale, they're small enough to interact with our biology at the most fundamental level, think cells, even molecules.
Okay, let's really dig into this then. What exactly are these nanomachines? What makes them capable of being this sort of one-pill solution?
Well, picture incredibly tiny machines, really tiny. They can be built from biological stuff like DNA or proteins or synthetic materials.
Then their size is the key thing.
It's defining, yes. We're talking nanometers to micrometers. That lets them get right inside cells, interact directly with molecules. It opens up possibilities for incredibly precise actions.
Like what kind of actions?
Oh, delivering drugs right to the spot you need them, repairing tiny bits of damaged tissue, sensing what's going on chemically, even performing basic calculations right there inside the body.
So this one pill,
Right.
it's not just a regular pill with medicine. It's more like a container.
A delivery vehicle, exactly, for a whole fleet, maybe millions or billions of these microscopic robots.
A swarm, almost.
A swarm, precisely. That's the concept. The pill releases this swarm of programmable nanomachines. And here's the really cool part. They could be programmed to handle different jobs at the same time.
So in one person, some might go after cancer cells.
Right, while others are maybe working on the metabolic issues behind diabetes or clearing plaque, all from that single pill you took.
That sounds incredibly complex. How would these tiny things even know where to go or what job to do once they get there? Inside the body, I mean.
That's where their design features are critical. They'd likely have modular functions, different tools or capabilities they can switch between. AI, artificial intelligence, is seen as absolutely essential here,
AI would be controlling them.
or at least optimizing the therapy, analyzing the situation in real time, making adjustments, and then there's the targeting, huge challenge, obviously.
How do they target?
Several ways. Molecular sensors to sniff out disease markers, things called ligands. They're like molecular keys that only fit specific locks on diseased cells.
Okay.
And maybe even external guidance, using things like magnetic fields or ultrasound from outside the body to steer them. Pretty sophisticated stuff.
Okay, so bringing it to today, like right now in 2025, where are we with this tech for those specific diseases we mentioned? Cancer, diabetes, heart plaque, lung issues, the things this one pill aims to fix.
Right. Well, the sources we looked at show it's really a mixed bag right now. Different stages for different conditions. For cancer, it's maybe partially ready.
Partially ready, what does that mean?
It means we already have some things approved, like certain nanoparticles that help deliver chemotherapy directly to tumors. That's FDA-approved technology. But the more advanced stuff, the actual nanobots designed to actively hunt and destroy cancer cells, that's still mostly preclinical. Lots of research, but not in widespread use yet. Still, that precision is the key advantage they offer.
Right, targeting just the cancer.
Yeah.
So some progress there. What about diabetes?
Diabetes is categorized as not ready. There's preclinical work, definitely. using nanoparticles to try and, say, calm down the immune system attacking the pancreas, or help regenerate insulin-producing cells, or deliver insulin more smartly.
But still early days.
Very early days, yes. Still mostly in the lab phase for diabetes applications.
In heart disease. Specifically that plaque buildup in arteries, which is such a huge problem.
Similar story to diabetes, really. Not ready. Lots of preclinical research looking at nanoparticles to maybe stabilize plaque, maybe dissolve it, maybe even physically remove it. But again, still confined to the lab right now.
Okay, and the last one, those lung buildups, like chronic mucus or clearing pollutants.
Yeah, that one's maybe a bit further along, also partially ready. We're seeing some nanoparticle drug delivery systems for lungs in late-stage clinical trials.
So closer to actual use.
For the delivery part, yes.
Yeah.
But the nanobots designed to actively clear stuff out of the lungs, those are still in preclinical development, like the cancer bots.
So it's a very patchy landscape in 2025. Some things approved, some in trials, lots still in the lab. But these white papers, they're predicting huge leaps by 2063. What kind of breakthroughs do they expect?
They're really banking on a convergence of technologies. For targeting, for instance, they expect massive improvements thanks to, well, better molecular biology understanding combined with AI.
So smarter targeting.
Much smarter. Think really specific ligands, of tamers, biomarkers, ways to uniquely tag only the diseased cells or tissues, leaving healthy stuff alone. That precision is absolutely fundamental for a one pill to work safely.
Makes sense. But okay, precision is one thing. How do you make enough of these complex little machines, going from lab scale to treating potentially millions, billions of people?
Scalability, yeah, that's another massive projected advance. The idea is automated nanofabrication. Basically, building factories that can churn out these nanomachines reliably, consistently, and crucially, cheaply enough.
So mass production.
Exactly. Bringing the cost down so this one pill isn't just for the super rich, you know?
And safety. You're putting billions of tiny machines into someone. What stops them from causing problems, becoming toxic?
Biocompatibility and clearance. That's a huge focus. Designing them to be biodegradable is key.
So they just broke down naturally.
Right, into harmless components after their job is done.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of work on making nanoparticles small enough so the kidneys can just filter them out, minimizing any long-term buildup from the pill.
And what about getting this approved? Regulators, like the FDA, they're known for being cautious, especially with brand new technologies.
True. But the thinking is, as we gather more safety data from these earlier nanoparticle therapies and the first generations of nanobots, the regulatory pathways will get clearer, more streamlined.
So familiarity will help.
Familiarity, established safety profiles, standardized testing. It should hopefully make the approval process for these more advanced one-pill therapies smoother by then.
It really sounds like AI is kind of the secret sauce in all of this.
It absolutely is. By 2063, the vision isn't just AI helping guide the nanobots from the pill. It's AI involved in diagnosis, in personalizing the entire therapy based on your specific biology
Wow.
and monitoring how well it's working in real time. That level of personalization is what makes the one-pill concept so potentially powerful.
Okay, it's an exciting vision. But let's talk hurdles. What are the biggest challenges right now in 2025 that stand between us and this 2063 goal?
Well, we've touched on some. Targeting efficiency is a big one, really making sure these nanobots go only where they're needed.
And avoid healthy tissue.
Critically important. The solutions often involve combining approaches, those molecular tags, maybe some external guidance like magnets, plus AI making smart decisions based on sensor readings, multimodal systems.
And you mentioned manufacturing scale needed for a widely available pill.
Yeah, that's a huge engineering challenge. Moving from, making milligrams in a research lab to making kilograms or tons in an industrial setting, it requires totally new automated nanofabrication plants.
Okay. And the body itself, immune reactions, getting rid of the bots afterwards.
Biocompatibility and clearance, again, it's crucial. You need materials the body accepts, doesn't violently attack. And you need reliable ways for them to break down or be removed once the therapy from the pill is complete. That's a major, major research area.
So if, and it's a big if, but if these tech hurdles get solved, what kind of impact are we talking about? How could this one pill change healthcare?
Oh, the impact could be seismic. Truly revolutionary. We'd be looking at genuinely personalized medicine.
Tailored to each person.
Exactly. Treatments from this one pill, adapting precisely to your individual needs, the specific way your disease works, that should mean much better results, fewer side effects.
And the idea of one pill for many conditions, almost like a universal cure.
Well, maybe not cure in every case, but a universal treatment platform. Having one pill that can tackle multiple diseases could radically simplify healthcare.
How so?
Think about reducing the cost of managing lots of separate chronic conditions. Think about how much easier it would be for patients to just take one pill instead of, 5 or 10. Compliance would likely shoot up.
And globally, what about places with fewer resources?
The potential there is immense. If this one pill platform becomes relatively cost-effective and versatile, imagine deploying it in resource-limited settings. It could tackle a huge range of diseases that currently devastate those regions.
Okay, but getting from here, 2025 lab work, to widespread global availability by 2063, that feels like a monumental task. What needs to happen? What are the strategies?
It needs a massive coordinated push, more investment, obviously, lots more money into both nanotech and AI research specifically for medicine.
Government funding, private.
Both, likely. Public-private partnerships are probably key. Collaboration is vital. Researchers, companies, regulators all working together.
Especially regulators, right? To smooth the path.
Definitely. Clear guidelines, efficient approvals, and international cooperation, too, so the rules are similar worldwide. Plus, solving those big technical challenges, scalable, low-cost manufacturing, building the factories,
On getting it to people.
efficient distribution networks, absolutely. And finally, education. Training doctors and nurses, informing the public so people understand and trust these new therapies when the one pill arrives.
You mentioned earlier that striking comparison, the skull versus the microtubule. Why is that scale difference so important to grasp for this one pill idea?
It just hammers home the operating environment, how incredibly, almost unimaginably small these nanomachines need to be.
Remind us of the numbers.
Sure, the human skull, maybe 0.18 meters across, roughly. A microtubule, which is like scaffolding inside our cells, about 25 nanometers, a billionth of a meter. So nanometer versus meter.
What's the difference in orders of magnitude?
It works out to about 7 orders of magnitude. 7. It's like comparing a car to a single grain of sand, maybe even smaller. That's the level of miniaturization we're talking about for the components of this one pill working inside cells.
The source mentioned neurons, too, as a middle ground.
Yeah, just for context, a neuron cell body might be around 25 micrometers. That's 4 orders of magnitude smaller than the skull. Still huge compared to a microtubule, which is another 3 orders of magnitude smaller again.
So layers upon layers of smallness.
Exactly. It shows the hierarchy and underscores why these nanomachines in the one pill need to be so tiny to interact effectively at that fundamental biological level.
Okay, let's circle back to the 2025 readiness assessment. The nanomedicine analysis gave some more specific timelines, didn't it? Beyond just partially ready or not ready.
Yes, a bit more granular. For cancer, while we have those approved nanoparticles, the analysis estimates the more advanced nanobots, the active hunters you'd want in a one pill, are probably still 5 to 15 years from widespread clinical use.
Okay, so 5 to 15 years. That pushes widespread use into the 2030s, maybe early 2040s, for advanced cancer nanobots within this pill concept. Diabetes.
Still classed as not ready for pancreatic treatment via nanomachines, the projection there is maybe 10 to 20 years before we see clinical translation from the current preclinical studies.
10 to 20 years, so potentially mid-2040s, or even later for widespread use in a one pill for diabetes. Heart plaque.
Similar time frame projected there. Not ready. Now preclinical progress is happening, but likely 10 to 15 years before nanomachines are routinely clearing plaque as part of this universal pill.
And the lung buildups. You said that was partially ready?
Right. Nanoparticle drug delivery is in late trials, but the actual clearance nanobots also estimate around 10 to 15 years away from broader use, similar to heart plaque and the advanced cancer bots.
So looking at those timelines, starting from 2025, and considering all the breakthroughs needed, how confident are the sources that these key challenges will be overcome by 2063 for the main one-pill targets?
Well, for cancer, the outlook within this one-pill framework seems pretty positive. The analysis suggests that targeting, scaling up production, getting regulatory approval, those major hurdles are seen as likely solvable within that 2063 timeframe.
Making nanobots a standard cancer tool delivered by the pill.
That seems to be the expectation, yes.
What about diabetes? That seemed a bit further behind in the timelines for the nanotech component of the pill.
It did, but the anticipation is that the breakthroughs needed, especially in targeted delivery to the pancreas and in developing the right biomaterials, will happen, leading to effective nanomachine treatments for diabetes, perhaps integrated into the one pill by 2063.
And the heart plaque issue for the pill.
The projection is similar, that precise, safe nanobots for clearing arteries will be developed and clinically available by then, likely as another function loaded into the one-pill platform.
And lungs.
Continued progress expected there, too. Both nanoparticles and the clearance nanobots should yield effective solutions for lung buildups by 2063, again, potentially as part of that single comprehensive pill.
So putting it all together, this vision, one versatile pill, releasing programmable, multitasking nanobots for cancer, diabetes, heart disease, lung problems. Based on these sources, does it seem like a genuinely realistic prospect for 2063?
The analysis we reviewed strongly suggests yes. They envision various ways the pill could work. Maybe you swallow it, the nanobots get into the bloodstream, maybe it dissolves and you inhale them for lung issues.
And AI is the key.
AI is the brain activating and guiding the nanobots based on what it detects is wrong in your body using those disease markers.
What are the core factors making that 2063 date seem plausible for the one pill?
It really relies on a convergence, a coming together of several accelerating trends, continued rapid progress in nanotech itself, big advances in biomaterials, what the bots are made of, smarter and smarter AI, mature regulatory systems that know how to handle these therapies, and importantly, significant investment from the pharmaceutical industry, seeing the huge potential of a one pill.
So those big initial challenges we listed, targeting, scaling, safety, regulation, cost, the expectation is they'll be largely addressed by 2063.
That seems to be the prevailing view in the sources, yes. The argument is that, based on current trajectories across all these fields, something like the one pill to cure all looks highly feasible within that time frame.
But this whole idea, this one pill, it really depends on knowing exactly what's going on inside us, right? Down to a tiny level so the nanobots can find their way. How important is mapping the body?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental, foundational. You can't have these smart nanobots delivered by the pill working effectively without an incredibly detailed map. Think of it like the ultimate internal GPS system.
A GPS for the nanobot.
Exactly. The AI directing the pill's payload needs a comprehensive map, regions, tissues, organs, down to the cellular level to guide those tiny robots accurately.
You mentioned the pancreas earlier as being tricky for targeting. How does that highlight the need for this super detailed mapping for a one pill for diabetes?
The pancreas is a perfect example. It's deep inside you. It's got a complex web of blood vessels. The target cells, the beta cells, are tiny clusters scattered around.
Wow.
Plus, you have the immune system to worry about, and the whole environment is dynamic, constantly changing. Getting therapy from the one pill, specifically to those beta cells without a precise map, extremely difficult.
So what does this ideal map need to show? What features are essential for the one pill to work everywhere?
It needs everything. Macro-level anatomy down to nanoscale details, molecular landmarks, what proteins are on which cells, physiological context, blood flow, inflammation signals,
In 3D.
high-resolution 3D, ideally submicron. And crucially, it needs to be dynamic, offering real-time updates on what's happening inside your body right now so the one pill's AI can adapt.
Where are we with that kind of mapping today in 2025? What are the gaps we need to fill for this one pill vision?
Well, we have tools, but they all have limits. MRI, CT, ultrasound show the big picture. PET, SPECT see some molecules, but the resolution isn't great. Microscopes like confocal give amazing detail, but usually only on tissue samples, not in a living person. There's the Human Cell Atlas project, incredible molecular data, but it lacks that real-time spatial map needed for navigating the nanobots from the pill in vivo.
Especially for deep organs like the pancreas.
Exactly. Getting that live, sub-micron resolution, dynamically updated map inside deep organs, that's a major technical hurdle we need to clear for the one pill to fulfill its promise.
But again, the expectation is big progress in mapping by 2063 alongside the nanotech for the pill itself.
Absolutely. The projections include things like nanoscale MRI, much better optical imaging that sees deeper, maybe hybrid systems combining techniques, implantable or wearable sensors feeding back real-time data.
And AI putting it all together.
AI is key for reconstructing these incredibly detailed dynamic maps from all that data. The goal is, yes, sub-micron resolution, real-time updates, even for complex organs, providing the guidance system for the one pill's nanomachines.
And AI uses these maps to actually steer the nanobots from the pill.
Precisely. AI does the localization, figures out where the bots are on the map. It provides navigation commands, maybe using external fields, maybe telling the bots how to use their own sensors. It optimizes the therapy, tells them what drug to release where, and it adapts based on what the map shows happening and how you, the individual patient, are responding to the pill.
Can you walk us through an example? How might AI and these maps make the one pill work for diabetes in the pancreas by 2063?
Okay, imagine this. A super high-res nanoscale MRI creates a live 3D map of your pancreas. It shows exactly where the insulin-producing islets are, maybe even highlights individual beta cells that are stressed or damaged, plus inflammation markers.
Got it.
The AI analyzes this map. It guides the nanobots released from the pill, maybe uses a weak magnetic field to get them generally to the pancreas, then relies on glucose sensors on the bots themselves to home in on the malfunctioning islets.
Okay, they're getting close.
Right. Once they're near the target cells, the AI, reading the map signals, instructs specific bots. You release growth factors here to encourage regeneration, or maybe you deliver this drug to improve insulin sensitivity right on these cells.
And it watches what happens.
Constantly. It monitors the map for changes. Are the cells responding? Is inflammation going down? And it adjusts the nanobot's actions in real time to get the best possible outcome from that single one pill dose.
So pulling this all together, the development of this one pill to cure all by 2063, powered by these incredibly smart, programmable nanomachines, navigated by AI, using these unbelievably detailed body maps. It actually sounds, well, increasingly plausible based on the trajectory.
That really is the core message from the sources we examine. It's the convergence. Nanotech, AI, our ability to map the body, all advancing rapidly and synergistically. It strongly suggests a truly transformative shift in healthcare, perhaps embodied by something very much like this one pill, is genuinely on the horizon.
Personalized, universal treatments, the potential to just dramatically improve health worldwide. It's pretty staggering vision.
It is, and while the science is fascinating, it's definitely worth you reflecting on the broader implications. What would healthcare, what would society look like if this becomes reality?
Absolutely. It's almost hard to fully grasp the potential change.
Yeah.
How we understand disease, how we treat it. It could all be fundamentally reshaped. It really makes you think about the future.
Indeed, and for any of you listening who find this as fascinating as we do, digging deeper into nanotechnology, AI, and medicine, the future of healthcare, there's a huge amount more to explore out there.